So at the end of today's session, we are going to learn how to be able to position your objects on our Pygame window anyhow you want. I'm going to teach you exactly what's going on under the hood, the whole mathematics behind it. And you're never going to be confused again. And then with this power, you can go on and make whatever game that you feel like making, or whatever game that you feel like. But I'm going to cure all your confusion. So stick along with me and hang on for the ride. Yeah, all right, guys. So we can get right underway with it. You understand? Yes. Now for Pygame for our Windows, first I want us to think of something. Okay, this is our pencil. All right. Let's think of our Cartesian plane. You understand? Yes, like this, and then this will be our origin, right? Yes. And now we have to know that this is okay. I think we know that this is our x, and then this is our y over here, right? Like this. You understand? Yes. Now for Pygame, I want you to think of something. We don't really care about these two. You don't really care about these two, right? Yes. Or you can flip it. Okay, let's just take it like this. Let me see. You don't really care about these two. You understand? Yes. So now let's build up from actually drawing our game window. You understand? Yes. So now if we recall to draw our game window, we do stuff like uh our weight. We set parameters for our weight. So when we say weight equals 800, what we are really saying is that okay, now you our x, so at position, let's say it like that. Now you our x position, we want you to move from zero, and then when you get to 800, we want you to stop. So we want to move 800 places to the right. So we just move 800 pixels. You understand? I think that's too much, but whatever. Yes, it's not drawn to scale, so chill out. So that will be 800. And let's say we want a height of 600. Now height will be down here. So then we also come down 600. It has to have a rectangle like, because this is more than this. All right. Yeah. So then we also see that we are moving downwards 600. So we come down like that. And then we get our height. And then the reason why this works is that we know that they are rectangles, right? So this side will be equal to this side. So it will come and form like that. And then this side will also be equal to this side. So you don't really have to specify for, I don't know if you are getting me, you don't have to really specify for all of that. If you just do this, it is going to work for you. You understand? Yep. Yes, let me just use an ellipse. So that's very clean. Yes. So we can have, I say ellipse, a rectangle, so that's very clean. We can have our game window like this. You understand? So now we have our game window. And I told you that let me bring our zero here too. And then our x here too. And then our y also here too. Like this. You understand? Yes. And now I'm going to give us a use case, an example that we are going to be using to learn. And I think in Pygame, everyone has heard of a pump when you're starting. Try to make pump and then all that. And then sometimes you get confused along the way. But fret not. Everything's going to be simple over here. Now to build pump, after making our window, what do we try to do? Now let's start with the paddles. You understand? Yes. Now think about making the paddle itself is not the problem. You understand? So let's make our paddle and put it, let's say here, right? And then you should be there like that. So, and then you should be there like that, right? Yes. Now, what happens when we want to move? We want to place our paddle on the screen. You understand? Now, here's where the magic comes in. So we are going to be needing a tuple. You understand? Of x and y. I think in the actual code is placed in a list or something, but yes, you have to refer to the docs. But for the purposes of this video, let's think of it this way. We all did graphs in school right now. Like, let's be thinking in that sense right now. You understand? And then now, default, let's say is 0, 0, right? Yes. Now, it's pump. So we want our paddles to be somewhere in the center, right? All right, cool. So how do we get to the center? Now, that's where you see them saying things like the weight, you know, the weight. So that's where, oh my God, where's my eraser? Let's clean this up. Forgotten how to use this application. You can large our eraser, right? Yes. So that's where you see them saying things like W, that W for weight, divided by 2. Now think of it, if we take this our weight and we strike it divided by 2, we are surely getting our middle, right? Yes. You understand? Yes. So if you want to draw a rect, so if you want to draw a rect like that, this we can pass in our x to be, let's say, w over 2 for x like this, right? Yes. And then now that's going to give us uh, our middle. You understand? Now here lies the problem. When we are drawing the way Pygame draws rectangles, there's going to be some misinterpretation. So let's say our paddle width is 100, right? 100. Now all what you have simply done is told Pygame to start over here. Yes, we said 800, right? Let me write it. So if the whole thing is 800, we just told Pygame to start at 400. You understand? We have just told Pygame now to start at 400. So it's now going to draw from 400 and then I'll add the 100 over here. If you get what I'm saying, yes, it's now going to start from 400 and then add the 100 over here. I want it to start and then it's going to look shifted to the right when we finally put our paddle there. Right, it's going to look shifted to the right. And we don't want that to happen. So now our x position is not done. We now come and subtract the width again of our paddle. So W of P like this. Now all this is for our x. You understand? And then that will get our paddle uh, somewhere here. Here, like this. I know I may not be accurate to myself, but how do we move these things? Am I forgotten? Uh, well, I remember we could move these things back, whatever. Yes, and now we'll be able to get our paddle over here like that. Yes, so now you have put that there. You understand? And now it's time for our y, position. So let's come. Yes, okay. So let's say two paddles, right? Now this will be okay for okay, and now it's time for our y position. You understand? So now once we have done this, is we have satisfied our first part of the support. Like I keep saying, we have satisfied this part of things, right? Over here like that. And we have to deal with this side of things over here like that. You understand? So now we come down to our y-axis. Then we say that here was what? 600. All right. Yes. Now, uh, let's say we wanted to place our paddle here. You understand? In fact, you can place it anywhere. Like that's the goal of the video, right? To teach you to be able to place your stuff anywhere, right? Yes. So now if we want to place it here, over here. Now what do you think we'll need to do to bring this paddle itself to the center? You can just say our height divided by 2 or minus 2. I think minus 2. Okay, no. Divided by 2. Half of the height is going to give us the center. And then we can put this our paddle over here. You understand? Now if you want to go a bit, if you want to go more down, more down, more down. Now this will be the value of our 600 over here. You understand? This will be the value of our 600 over here. And then, oh, I wish I had an actual pen. I would have written a lot. And then let's see, here will be 550, 550, 450, 350, 250, 150, 150, and maybe our zero over there like that, right? Yes, now it's good to keep this in mind. Yes. So if you want to place it on this side, understand? Now what are we going to do to these our values to be able to place it over here? Are we just going to say okay 50 from the top? That we just write our 50 over there, or we are going to say 600. Okay, we don't need to do that in this case. You understand? So now we need to find a way to make our second positional value for our y evaluate to a figure where we want to place it. You understand? Yes, so we want to make it evaluate to 50, we want to make it evaluate to 100, we want to make it evaluate to 150, 250, 350, 450, 550, or even here for 600 right? Yes. Now you don't want to be hard coding everything. You understand? So I mean, well, you can go and do it, and then you write 550 or 550 off the top. But for the bargain, and sometimes it won't work. You have to think a lot. So you can just say 600 minus uh you know 50. Then you start to play around with the values like that. Because the way I'm labeling it over here, it won't be labeled like that for you. So you might have to play with it around a lot. You understand? So if I see 600 minus 50, and then when I run the game loop, and then I see my screen again, the paddle is over here. Or the paddle is over here like this. And then I don't want it. I can subtract. I can subtract more, and then it will keep going up, and then up, and then up, and then up, and then up like that. That's for subtraction. But if I just go and start stating values, it's going to come from here, and then here, and then here, and then here. Not on the left side. We have already centered it, but you get what I mean. And then here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here. Like coming down like that. You understand? Yes, so yes, let me clear up our space. So that's pretty much it for our paddles. And then I'm highly confident that you can look at whatever we have done for this our paddles and then apply it to a lot of your game objects. Because Pygame I've really noticed like all the 2D games we built are really rectangles and circles and you know what have you. Now let me clean this up and then we'll do it. Yes. Yes. Okay, so another question I've had someone ask me is that okay, so why are we accounting for the weight of the paddle when we are placing the paddles, but when it gets to the ball, we can just do weight over two and then height over two and blah blah blah. Yes, now this is why I'll encourage you to go maybe in the docs or like really experiment with the Pygame and engine and really experiment with the Pygame itself to know what's really going on. Because with the circles, it's drawing outward from the center. Like think of how we even draw circles with our compass. You see, we have the radius and then we kind of build from the center like this. Okay, this is our radius. So we place our compass at the center of the radius and then boom, we'll have our circle like that. Right. So that's how it works. So now for Pygame, where are our balls going to be? In the center. Right. Now I want you to, even if you need to pause the video, you can pause it and really think about where the center is going to be over here. How do we assess our center given the coordinates that I've given? For the coordinates, sorry, for the coordinates that I've given over here. You understand? Where would our center be? Yes. Yes. Now, are you back? Do you have your answer? I want you to go and then you drop it in the comments. Well, no, don't drop it in the comments. There are some weird people out here. So you later tell me if you had it right or if you had it wrong. Yes. So based on what we have seen, what you have over here, you know that the half of our top here, our x, was 400. Now we simply have to go and find half of our height. That's half of y. So half of 600 is going to be what? Yes, you're right. You're probably right. You are some smart people. Yes. So that will be 300 like this. So now what you want to do is you want to place our ball at this coordinate, 800. That's what I was saying. Think about the graphs and 300. You understand? So you can even see ball position x equals this, ball position y equals this. Because we're going to do collision blah blah blah. So we can separate it nicely like that. You understand? Yes, and then once we have these parameters, our ball can be this and over, but our ball can be placed here like this. You understand? Yes, and then we'll have our window set up like this very beautifully. You understand? Yes, and then kind of to add on, we are done. We are done really. I hope I've not spoken for too long. Yes. So that's why you can see that we can in our code you can see that we increment by 5. You understand? That's our paddle. Uh, we increment our paddle by 5. You understand? That's the position. You understand? Yes. So now the value over here is no longer 400. Let's say we are starting at 400. The value over here will no longer be 400. It will be 405. Then 410. Yes. Now again, think about the Cartesian plane. Yes, and then Pygame is updating the frames every time, matter of even milliseconds. So that's why we have the illusion of video that I'm moving my paddle. Yes, we say if key down. So maybe if we are pressing our right arrow key, then we increment. If not, then we decrement like this. So minus equals 5. So okay, when you're pressing the left, then it is. So that one is going to take us in this direction per frame. So five. And then we'll need to handle when it gets here so that some collision so that we don't see any weird stuff. Yes. So that's pretty much it for positions and yes. Now comment collision if you like to see anything on collisions, under the hood of collisions, and then I'll make a similar video. Yes, have a nice one. If you like